Are you ready for our next speaker? She's convinced that mobility is not gender neutral. That's right, not gender neutral, and we may have a male bias. Women's mobility is more multimodal and intermodal than men's. In her talk, she will focus on female mobility and new ideas for everyone. Please meet Lieke Ypma, design and engineer, user-centered innovation, mobility geek. Lieke, hello and welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for
How are you feeling today?
The chance to present on the main stage. I'm fine, I'm just out of a 4-hour client session.
Wow.
But I've heard the talk of Elodie, and I loved it as well. I must say, she didn't share that secret that on the Mindstorm, how she wanted to combine both genders. So my kids both have a Mindstorm, and the guy and the girl, what they both love is that it makes farts. The little cat can make farts. So that's how the genders meet.
I see. That's so much fun. Thanks for that mentioning. Awesome. I really love that we are starting on the very positive and fun note. Enjoy. The stage is yours, and talk to you later.
Okay, let me see. Oh, yes. I will share my screen and go here. Good. So do you see my screen? Thank you. I'm going to trust it's good. Let me first quickly go back and see if it's all good. Yes. Oh, this is a bit funky. I don't see if the screen sharing works well, so I'm going to just trust the technology here. So most of our mobility systems in Western Europe have been designed in the 50s and backwards, as the majority of city planners were men. And would our mobility system look differently if it would have been designed by women? I set out on a journey to get an answer on that question, and I would like to take you along. So my name is Lieke Ypma. I'm a designer and an engineer. I consult businesses on innovation and product strategy. I'm a product builder. Wherever I work mostly with men. And I would like to thank you again for this invite to the main stage. We are witnessing an amazing force for good here, and let's help each other. So who in the audience knows which percentage of the global unpaid care work is executed by women? Please just answer in the chat. Even though I cannot see the chat at the moment, I would like you to answer there. So why is this so important? Before we understand how women move, we have to understand how women live. So in Barcelona, in the public transport system, there's as many routes counted for commute as there are for unpaid care work. So the number is 75%. That's a large number, right? 3/4 of the unpaid care work is done by women. Another number here, because I started out looking at the numbers to grasp how women live. So in Germany, 73% of the fatal accidents are caused by men. And if there is one car in a family, it's mostly driven by the male. Let me check if this is going right. Hello? Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought that might be something wrong here in the call. So 73% of the fatal car accidents are caused by men. Oh yeah, and if we have one car in a family, it's usually driven by the male. Women just don't have that need for speed, which is good, you could say. And 71% of the cars are owned by a man. So the global gender gap is still around 38%. I am sure there are more people in the audience that know more about this. Women are working in lesser paid jobs, and they also have less money for their mobility. And we have different bodies. In Western Europe, we could feel insecure at night. In a lot of other regions in the world, we could also feel insecure during the day. And that drives our choice for vehicle, for mode, and it also drives our chances. We have different bodies. It took a long time for the car industry to understand that, because a long time the crash test dummies were male bodies. So how do these differences influence the way we move? What is the portion of female users on public transport? Now, this is a global number, 66% in some countries. In Germany, it's 53%, because often women don't have a different choice. They may have less money. They also, maybe the car is already taken. And in the same amount of time, they travel less miles, because that might be the nature of public transport, but also women make more stopovers. I'll get to that later. We also see in the data that women are more often by foot. This also means that this data that used to be collected does not depict this, for the simple reason that it's more difficult to collect this data, to catch this data, if someone is moving by foot in very short routes. So the car is less often the default, which is good for our cities and for the quality of life in the cities. But why are women less open to new mobility options? So industry contacts of mine have showed that 75%, up to 75% of their user base is male. Why? Because they have less money, or maybe they don't have the time, or we don't have the time to get acquainted. Because yes, people that pursue multiple roles in life, they are more often under time pressure. For instance, not only on their way to work, but also when going back home, because they need to pick up the kids after work. And that is what is a trip chain. When you drop a parcel on your way to work, we call this a trip chain. And that is a fundamental difference to commuting from A to B. Trip chaining is going from A to B to C and further. And once again, trip chains are more difficult to collect the data on. So when we execute this unpaid care work, it means we are not alone. And it means we also carry more luggage. So these are the qualities of female mobility. And this way of moving is not exclusive to women. Everyone with multiple purposes in life trip chains more. But we understand the numbers now, and we also wanted to understand how this has changed the experience women have. We talked to more than 40 professionals and users in Berlin and Rotterdam in 2019. I did this with two contacts of mine from the industry. And this is what we found out. And this is what they've said. So a lot of people use their car as a phone booth. They may extend their working day, start their working day with preparing their day from the car, or extend their working day on their way back by making some more phone calls. So when we are on public transport, where do we go? Where do we make those calls? And people who pursue multiple roles in life don't want to be restricted by any of them on the other role. So this person said, I changed from my car to a faster solution after I've dropped the kids. So here we have an intermodal change. So within the route, they even change vehicles. And if we are on public transport, we all choose reliability, male, female, multiple roles, or only commuting. But when you have kids waiting, it's a whole different thing, yes? Because a lot of people have the feeling, I cannot be late when picking up the kids. And also they don't have a different choice, because they feel like they cannot use the bike or they don't have a car. People who pursue multiple roles have an endless to-do list. And this person wanted to know, after dropping the kids in a football match, what can I do here? What errands can I run? How can I get rid of that shopping on my to-do list? And then when you have that fresh milk in your bag, you know, you probably want a cooler somewhere on the street where you can drop that bag and move on to your next next to-do. And yes, we always travel encumbered. There may be a work bag, there may be a shopping bag, there may be sports stuff, and there may be kids, yes? And this person said, I carry my stroller down the metro stairs because self-determination is what they want. And this person said, well, if I take a shared vehicle and I want to get something done, I have to have a guarantee that the shared vehicle is still there because I need to continue on my route. But it costs a lot of money, or at least I don't see what it will cost up front. So what does this mean? We've all found our hacks and we are okay with it. Me as well, you know, I thought I'm probably the only one, you know, trying to buy that bread on my way home, or buy that Christmas present and then continue. But you are not the only one, and you're not alone. There are ways to optimize the system for women. And here are some starting points. How might we questions are perfect to get us going towards more inclusive mobility. So how might we prioritize pedestrians? In Sweden, they found out that the old way was they cleared snow first on the big roads, then the small roads. And they found out that when they start clearing snow first on the sidewalks, it is better for women, because women are more often by foot. And it's easier to drive a car through a couple of inches of snow than it is to push a wheelchair through the snow. And they even saved money because in the end there were less accidents because less people were falling down. Barcelona and Vienna have superblocks. Superblocks are bigger blocks with streets in the middle, but in those streets within the superblock, car use is reduced. And Vienna also clusters multiple destinations inside a block, like schools, shopping, doctors, bus stops, work facilities. And this is more friendly for people that have multiple roles in life. So we talked about the person that made a stopover and wanted to have cost transparency. So London has a star-shaped public transport system. It's ideal for commuters who want to travel from the suburbs into the city. And people who do care work don't do this, moving into the city and back to the suburbs. They travel within the suburb. And we can't change that star system overnight. So London, at least, introduced a cheaper fare to change bus lines more often. It's called the Hopperfare. Yeah, some questions I have not found a satisfying answer just yet. How might we connect a to-do list to a route? I would love to get that tool. So if there's somebody here developing it or knows about it, yes, feel free to put it in the chat. And whoever has seen a person struggling to get with 2 babies and 3 bags to a shared vehicle may relate to this. How might we? How might we offer rides to a parent with 2 babies and 3 bags? When I was observing this situation, I was thinking, how could autonomous cars help this? They could just drive in front of you, pick me up, and then, no struggle to get to your shared vehicle. So if we are aware of our weaknesses, how can we support each other? This is a great example. These are free driving classes on mopeds offered by a moped sharing company. Unfortunately, this moped sharing company is not alive anymore, but they have been followed up by others who are also doing it. And this is a startup from the UK. It's called Safe and the City, where we can create a heat map in the company, pinning which streets are more or less safe. And it's how we can help each other. Some questions just highlight a chance. How might we manage the curbside equally? So for people who are in mobility, curbside management is the new bus. It is when we remove parked cars and allow buses, bikes, or vans on the curbside when they need it most. And this is just a chance to fuel this code with female patterns. And if we then are all on using the streets in an equal way and enlarging the quality of life in our cities, we have to share the space with other people, and we do want to have mutual respect. And the city of Amsterdam does this quite nicely. Here is a space, it's called a shared space, where the bike lane just ends and you see the ferry coming from the left. And all the signs are removed and people just use their senses to avoid collisions. And it works perfectly fine. We cannot do this alone. If we want to increase the quality of life in our cities, we have to collaborate. And this is how I think we should collaborate. If we listen to each other with empathy, we can find out new perspectives and new ways of thinking. And this is how we reach innovation, because innovation can only work through empathy, whether it's empathy for the kids, as we just heard in the Lego session, or empathy in this case for all users of the street. And women are said to be more empathic, so let's make this happen. My name is Lieke Ypma. I help businesses innovate. I'm a product builder, and feel free to reach out to me.
Again, thank you very much for this super interesting talk. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I really loved your point when you said that we need to listen with empathy, listen to the kids and adults, to the drivers and users of the streets. That's what is needed. That's why we also need to have more women at the as a driving seat, as a drivers of the change, so we can build everything around us more friendly for everyone, for both genders, right? Or for gender neutral. That's super awesome. Do you have any questions for Lieke, everyone? Here's a question from Anouk. How is the change to more space for bicycles in big cities going to impact street sharing for women?
Yes, so there are a lot of bicycle lanes around the world called pop-up lanes being made because people cannot rely on the public transport anymore. Public transport is said to be a little bit less safe in Corona times. And bike lanes are a perfect start for that. And it also helps people who are maybe a little bit afraid to get on the bikes. But I think we need to support that momentum with all different kinds of initiatives. This could be driving schools, that could be, more in the top segment. Actually, I do a talk next week on the Velo Berlin around biking and as a status symbol. Yes, so that is, the bike lanes are a good start, but it needs to be supported, definitely.
Right, that's correct. Thank you very much, Lieke. Thanks for sharing this super insightful, interesting, engaging talk. I'm wishing you a great day. Stay with us and talk to you later.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.